All right, everybody, thanks for joining me again at the Clash on the Coast. This is post-game interviews, and a guy that I've been waiting to interview all weekend long. It doesn't get any more colorful than this. This is Garrett Payne, also known as a.k.a. Gator, and do you say Quadzilla?
Quad-timidator.
Quad-timidator. That's hard to say. You got to get that out.
That's the Instagram name.
It is the Instagram name. That's right. Now I know. You see how that all works out.
Well, it's an ode to Dale Earnhardt Jr. I grew up as a racing fan. He was Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr., but Dale Earnhardt was the Intimidator.
Yeah.
And I was working for Chubby's, and originally, when my Instagram name came about, and everybody had a nickname, and so being a NASCAR fan and a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan, and it was some kind of leg-oriented nickname.
Yeah.
So Quad-Timidator kind of came naturally, and it worked. And then when I kind of journeyed into strongman, it was like, well, that fits. So I just kind of stuck with it.
Oh, man, with two nicknames, that never hurts anyhow, you know. You're known across the board. And you do have some giant quads.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
I'm sure I've got a bunch of nicknames that I don't know about.
No, I'm sure. I'll figure it out now.
Business.
After I post this interview, a few people will let me know, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know what I find the most interesting about you is you're another one of those enigmas in the sport.
I would like to think I've got a little bit of mystery about me, but
I
am an open book when people come to ask. So.
That is a fact, because we had some good conversations.
That was great.
But what is the best part about it is don't judge a book by its cover.
Nah.
You're this good old boy. I get it.
Yeah.
And you get this football player and this musclehead to some degree, but you are a super intelligent guy. Is it fair for me to say that? You got a perfect score on the ACTs.
Yeah, there's some paper behind it.
Yeah.
And it saved me a lot of money when it came to school, but I still had to pay for a little bit because I made some decisions about pursuing football dreams versus academics, and I only went with like a half ride versus full rides for academics.
Yeah.
But, transferred schools here and there, and had to come back home to Texas because Indiana's cold and miserable. Don't go there.
It is. Midwest sucks. You don't blame me. I'm from Michigan. I know.
The
it's
food's
terrible.
very bland coming from Texas and like border Louisiana. So
everything's bland coming from Texas and bordering Louisiana, I think.
I had to introduce all my fraternity brothers to like Tony Chachere's, and they were like, "What the hell is this?" And
right.
I was like, just put it on everything. You'll be fine.
Now they got it in their cupboards at home, I'm sure, and they're thanking you for it.
100%.
So Clash on the Coast. I was here last year. You weren't here last year. Were you at the first one?
Nope. This is my second year back as a middleweight. So last year, after the Arnold, I competed as a heavyweight at the Arnold last year.
Yeah.
I dropped to middleweight, and unfortunately was just plagued by injuries last year. For me, it sucked. It was a leg issue here, leg issue there, and just back and forth, back and forth. And after OSG, took some time off, and just kind of did some bodybuilding type stuff just to get that strength back. And then it kind of got close to the Jersey Clash, and it was like, you're either going to do it or you don't.
Right.
About 4 or 5 weeks out, and I was like, all right, let's go. And signed up for it, started training the events, and ended up beating Johnny, who's in my heat, which is funny because he beat me by 1 point at this one. I beat him by 1 point at Jersey Clash.
Yeah.
It built some confidence back in my game, and coming back from hamstring issues and being able to pull a 750 deadlift at Jersey Clash, like on the axle wagon wheels. It was nice to get back to what I thought I could do, and built confidence coming into this. Obviously, still got some more work to do, but it is what it is. Yeah,
check that off your list, right? You're back. You feel like you're back. You're moving in the right direction now.
Exactly.
You know, you're again aligned with the best 105ers in the country, and be associated with this bunch, qualify, get here, and whatever happens because you're talking about 30 of the best 105ers in the world,
100%.
Essentially. Yeah.
And one of the blessings is that I'm fine today. Like, I didn't make finals, but I'm not walking around in a sling. No offense to you.
Or 5 of the other guys that you were.
Two guys in my heat walked away with bicep injuries.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to not come away with anything. I was a little sore this morning, but I made it. Like, I didn't make finals. Like, that sucks. But, I mean, when you look at our heat, it was 27.5, 21.5, 21, 20. And then withdraw. And I was at 20. That's a big fight all day.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot. That's very tight points for that second place.
Oh, man.
Vince ended up taking it. Johnny was right behind him, and I was behind him. It's very close when it comes down to it.
Yeah, if you look at all those heats, I don't think there's a lot of disparity at all between any of you guys.
No, every heat, everybody was very well balanced.
It's crazy. I think we can do that. We can redo that every weekend if it was physically possible, and you might get a different result every single time.
Well, you see that with shows like Strongman Champions League. I don't know if you watch that
I
lot,
do.
but
Yeah.
It's not always the same guy winning over and over again, unless you got Big Z stepping in.
Right. There's occasional one-off for sure. Yeah.
But they kind of go back and forth because they might have a good day, they might have a bad day, and you saw some guys out there this weekend. Some did have bad days.
Yeah.
Some had great days. They performed beyond what they thought. Like for me, just in training, I knew that 50-pound keg was going to be a challenge, and I ended up getting it after 2 attempts that didn't go over the bar. They went straight into it. So getting it after resetting my feet and throwing it over the bar, for me was an accomplishment because I've been having trouble with it in training.
Yeah.
So there's good takeaways when you look at every event. Like, I won the deadlift. That's great. Yeah, I didn't do great on the truck pull. I had a bad first pull. But there's positives that can come out of the weekend. You got to take those into your next event.
Yeah, you're building from there.
From
you definitely are building from there.
And so just not being injured is a great thing.
You and I had a little story. We were talking about kind of stories a bit out there today. You got some real unique perspectives on branding in the sport, and where do you think strongman suffers the most?
Following through on actual social posting and really connecting with the brands.
Yeah.
I've seen it time and time again where people they overpromise and underdeliver. So what you really need to do is if you promise something to a brand or an organization, could be ESPN, could be your mom and pop shop down the road that's just throwing $250 out to a show. You've got to mention them. If you promise a social post, you've got to make that social post. If you say, hey, we're going to mention you 3 times at our show, and you've got a representative from, say it's a cafe in your hometown for a local show, and that cafe, somebody from that cafe shows up to that show, and you told them you were going to mention them 3 times, and you don't mention them once, why would they ever throw money to the show again?
Yeah.
You've got to whatever you promise, you've got to deliver on, from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. And you see that with brands at every level. And you see that with partnerships being built, and unfortunately bridges burned, and then, having to come back from it.
And a lot of brands don't jump back on board. They have a bad experience.
If they have a bad experience, there's so many other opportunities for various sports. And for us, and being such a niche sport, you can't afford to burn bridges.
Right.
It's not there. So you got to take everything you can. And really, the key to it in this sport is over-delivering on a promise.
Yeah.
Because if you can do that, then you provide proof of concept. And so the next year when you go ask them, be like, hey, this is what you did last year. This is what we did for you. So how about we do this year, and we'll do this for you this year.
Right.
You can't think of it as we're only going to give them this because we're only doing this. That's not how you build trust. That's not how you build partnerships.
Right.
You got to keep providing for each other.
Yeah.
So you got to build together, grow together. Because if you're only looking out for yourself at the end of the day, that's all that's going to be left.
Yeah, and sadly, you do see a lot of that in our sport. That's a fact. And when everybody starts coming around, I think we'll see a different result. You got some interesting backstories. You were big with Chubbies, a part of that organization. You actually, you'd mentioned that. I think it was for Chubbies you started their ambassador program, right?
So I started as an ambassador for Chubbies.
Yeah.
And then took over the ambassador program, overhauled it. And then a couple years later, I moved on to a different company and went back into the engineering sector, and now I'm back with them as one of their influencers.
Yeah.
And so I've seen kind of the ebbs and flows of the program over the years, from where it was early on in its days, from just going after fraternity members that were well recognized on campus, to now pursuing big athletes. So they just did a partnership with George Kittle, and just
they did. They did. That's true.
And so being on that side of it, and then my normal job is actually a director of influencer marketing for a company. So, Dude Wipes, use them.
Dude Wipes, director of influencer marketing, guys. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's been fun to be able to provide for the sport in my own role, and really give back to the sport and make sure that, hey, we're providing that kind of exposure from my own side. But at the end of the day, like we're talking about, there's got to be that proof of concept. And so that's the difficult thing, is going to my bosses and being like, hey, this is what can happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'm kind of left with my foot in my mouth.
Yeah, right.
And so you don't want that to happen like this. Clash has been really a best case scenario because we sent product, we sent stuff for the podiums and stuff like that, and then we weren't expecting to be on the banner. We weren't expecting to have our own sign.
Above and beyond.
And so the above and beyond, it really makes it easy to be like, all right, next year when we evaluate this is what happened and what we provided last year.
Right.
So we can really look at it and be like, okay, well, let's do this year.
Right. There could be more of a rate of return on that simply
100%.
because of what's been done. Yeah, and I bring up Chubbies with him because I actually after I got talking to Gator, I realized, holy fuck, I've seen you in those Chubby ads. You were the Chubbies guy. Seriously. Now we know the quads, right? I think of the quads and I'm thinking the look. And
there's especially in the Dallas store, the brick and mortar store, and the Houston one.
Yeah.
There's a couple of pictures of me hanging around from when I was the marketing coordinator and doing the flights for the models. And
that's great. You're still walking around in the Chubbies right now. I'll have everybody know. Yeah.
Well, it's great because I get stuff every month, and the guys there, I still love them to death and in contact with everybody, and it's really fun team.
It is. Yeah, for
and
sure.
It's stuff I'm gonna be wearing anyway.
Yeah,
so.
well, right, exactly. It's your character all the way, bro. We know that.
Works.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, big Texas contingency here. Yeah. Tommy Sharp was here, of course. Richie was here.
Richie made finals.
Yep, and then Richie made finals, and who am I forgetting?
John Stacy.
John Stacy, of course.
Yep.
And who was? I thought there was a fifth, or maybe it was a girl, right?
So Jody is competing tomorrow.
Well, Jody is Texas now, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So she trains out of the same gym that John Stacy trains out of.
Yep, that's right.
So let me see. There's Richie, John, me, Tommy. I'm missing one.
Yeah, I know we are, aren't we? Yeah.
Nate Bowling.
Yep. Okay, Nate.
So,
right. Yep.
It's hard because Nate's damn near close to Louisiana, so he lives over about in
You don't
Tyler.
count him, is what you're saying.
And so no, I count Nate. But no, because he flew out of Shreveport, so it's throwing me off.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 hour of a drive for him to Dallas and
Yeah.
1 hour to Shreveport, so it's easier for him to fly out of Louisiana. No, and it's great because we're all really connected. We'll go train at so-and-so's gym. And next week we'll be at so-and-so's gym because somebody's got kegs.
Well, listen, and don't underplay that story because you guys are all hours apart, but you'll actually come together as a group in Texas, and you all drive to a location a couple hours away if need be to put in a good day of training with all you guys.
We push the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Richie and I, hell's 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, sat there with a stone and went 6 minutes back and forth.
I love it. Yeah.
And we were sitting there, and we were worried because we couldn't get the video to fit on Instagram. We were like, how are we going to post this?
Right. YouTube channel.
So we were sitting there in each other's ear, and we had some of the heavyweights that were in kind of like the New Braunfels area, San Antonio, came up, and everybody's just in your ear. And we just went at it.
I love it. You know what you do next time? You just fast forward that shit. Make it go real fast, put it on there. Get 4 minutes in about 30 seconds. But, that's what I love about you guys, man, you top-level guys, is you always find a way to get the job done by training with top-level people, and that's how you push one another. Yeah. You having a bad day? I'm sure Tommy's going to pick you up, or Richie's going to pick you up, or somebody say, hey, get your fuck off your ass. Let's get this done.
And that was the same thing going into Jersey Clash. I went to Jersey Clash last minute. Well, in our sport,
it truly is last minute, bro. 5 weeks? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
it's last minute. Yeah.
And I was coming off injuries and stuff, and it had been a while since I'd made a cut. So I'm sitting in the sauna messaging Nate, messaging Richie, messaging Tommy, and they're like, you've been here before. You remember how this feels. Yeah, it sucks. Embrace the suck.
Yep.
You know what you got to get down to. You're not dying. Take it. Get the water off. Fly up there, go do your business.
Love it.
And they're sitting there supporting me over messages, and they're like, handle it.
Right.
Don't quit.
With a firm hand.
Got a headache.
We love you, man. Yeah. With a firm hand, get your ass up and get this job done.
100%.
Yeah, right.
And so, I mean, without those guys,
I'm not here. Man, it's just speaks volumes about the fraternities that we develop. We're all a part of a big one, and then there's little contingencies that keep everybody afloat, and I love it. 100%. And Gator, you're a huge part of that. And it's been a pleasure meeting you, man, because, again, I've known of you and followed you, and now I know you even before I knew you on Chubbies and all this stuff, and you are certainly one of the characters in the sport, and you and I talked about that a little bit because character is important to our sport.
It is.
And having a good character and resonating with the fans out there, resonating with the people out there
100%.
that come into our sport and give money to our sport. We need more guys like you, bro.
And that's the thing is a lot of these guys have personality, but they're afraid to show it on camera. A lot of people get camera shy. It's just a device. It's the same thing as being in front of a crowd. And they're used to being in front of crowds, but you take that little aspect of, we're going to put it on camera, it's there forever, and it just kind of changes something in their minds. But that's how you bring stuff to the sport. You got to have personality. You got to have controversy. And that's one of the things is I was kind of telling Rich, I was like, hey, we need to start a fate fight on Instagram.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, bro, I don't do that. I was like, no, we need to hate each other. He was like, I don't want to do that. He's like, I got shit to do. I'm busy. And I was like, okay,
some personalities just won't ever give up.
Yeah. He's like, I've got to work. And I was like, all right. But Stephen Good and I'll do that. And it's funny because people don't realize, like, I'll be in his living room. We're sitting on the same couch, and I'm talking about how ugly he looks, and how bad he played at OU, and he's telling me like how short I am, and like I got hobbit feet, and they don't realize it's the same painting in the background, and we're sitting on the same couch.
Yeah,
like, But providing that entertainment value.
People like that. It resonates the drama, man. Yeah,
it's
totally.
It's the drama over nonsense.
It's great.
And that's the best thing.
I'm with you 100%. We got too many personalities in the sport not to let them shine a little bit.
Exactly.
And you're one of them. Thank you for joining me today, bro.
Appreciate you
be having some beers out there with you the next couple days.
Yeah.
All right. And Sunday night, here's what I told everybody we're going to do. We're going to set this camera up at that stone ledge right there. I'm going to put a mic in front of it and a sign behind the camera. It says live party cam.
Oh, yeah.
And then as you guys start drinking, you come up to that mic and you say whatever you want into it. And in the end, I'm going to post it. I'm going to because I know you're one of the ones.
The biggest mistake somebody ever asked me was like, hey, do you want to be on live TV? And I was like, eh.
Yeah, right. And have a few drinks in you. I can't wait, baby. This shit's going viral.
It's going to be a problem. There's a mini story I can tell on that.
Oh, boy. Well, hey, we'll tell them, and I'll keep it off camera. That sounds good. Thanks, Gator, for joining me, man. Appreciate it. All right, brother.